I realized that back on August 15th.
So he's going to talk about the WAW signal that they already supposedly had gotten some communication from the dragon, third eye dragon, so-called comet three-eye atlas, but they already got communication coming from the same area, the same trajectory that Atlas is coming from. That's back in 1977.
1977, there was a... I realized that back on August 15th, 1977, there was a very famous flare in the radio signal that was given the name the WAW signal, because the observers that recorded it at Ohio State University was stunned at how powerful this signal was. And I checked it. Turns out that it came from about the same direction in the sky as Three-Eye Atlas, within 9 degrees. And the chance for a random alignment of the two directions of 9 degrees or so is 0.6%. And there was no report on radio observations of Three-Eye Atlas so far. So I'm encouraging radio astronomers around the world to check out whether there is any radio transmission from Three-Eye Atlas.
Catch the latest.
It's just too much going on to be accidental, man.
Did you spend time at a California juvenile detention facility like Los Padrinos, Barry J. Niedorf?
Yeah, let's get some of this 2030, and then we're going to get back into the Hopi prophecy and do the dismount. It's going to be much shorter. I ain't going to hold you here for 5 hours, 4 hours. We're going to hit them, a little more pinpoint as we move forward, man. I got y'all, man. And I respect y'all like the long drops. Y'all like to stick around and surf the wave. But I do respect them. I know I can sometimes want to get it all in one sitting a little easier too. So I try to do them both. But let's get some more, man, from, this is the hands-on channel, man. All right, fair use. We just digging on it. Let's pick it up.
Goal 1. End poverty in all its forms everywhere. And on the surface of that, like all of these other things that they say, they sound real good and like, oh, well, who wouldn't want to end poverty in all forms everywhere? Well, the way they go about that is why I'm opposed to it. It's not that I don't want less people to be in poverty. Of course I want less people to be in poverty. But the way I want that to happen is through hard work and determination and people pulling themselves up by the bootstraps and pulling themselves out of bad situations by gaining experience in the job force and, moving up accordingly. Based on your qualifications and your merit of work, essentially. But that's not what they're talking about. They're talking about ending poverty by implementing centralized banks. I mean, think of the IMF, the World Bank, the Fed, to control all finances. Digital one world currency in a cashless society. I've been hearing about this cashless society for a long, long time.
Okay, we're going to talk digital IDs, right?
In fact, you could really say the one world currency. I've been hearing about that even longer. I remember back in my Sunday school lessons, one of the things that came up from time to time was that, and in my later days when I was learning about the book of Revelations and stuff like that, one of the things that came up was that before the end times, there would be a one world currency. Now, they didn't call it a digital currency way back then because they didn't know anything about digital currency back then, but they did say that there would be a one world currency. And, for years and years, I've heard many people saying openly that, cash makes no sense. It costs us too much money to have this cash in circulation. And, it carries germs, it's dirty, and on and on and on. But what they leave out is that cash gives you the ability to do a transaction without being traced. And I don't know if you've been following the news or not, but one of the things in their next round of, infrastructure, or I can't remember what they're calling it, but this next thing where Congress is talking, it's stalled out right now, but they're talking about $3.5 trillion additional dollars on top of the last infrastructure bill. So, I mean, they're trying to print us into oblivion right now. One of the things they were talking about in that bill was monitoring or having the IRS monitor every single transaction in your bank account or that you do anywhere on any electronic digital bank.
Don't this sound like what homie's saying?
On Chinese Communist Party, feed them poison food, make them die soon, because they think those homeless on the street is damaging their image of the Chinese Communist Party people. That is the control of the freedom of movement. It's not only freedom of speech or freedom of publication. Most of the Chinese people, they are slave labor. They are slave labor.
Freedom of movement also is your ability to make a transaction without being traced. That's also freedom of movement. Straight up.
Bank or whatever, or any site like that, where you spend more than $600 or you deposit more than $600, the IRS is going to make a little note of that and check it out and see if, that's legitimate. What you're doing is on the up and up. So, I mean, they're already talking about clamping down here in the United States using the IRS and other bureaucracies. They've done this crap before where they punish certain, ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all ages. Translation, mass, can I say that word? I don't know. Translation, mass vaccination. Codex alimentarius. Fancy UN word for food code. So they're going to have a food code, and I'm sure bugs and meat and all this other stuff will be in there, and it'll all be tied to your social credit score or whatever. So maybe if you're a good boy that month, you'll get to have a hamburger, a real hamburger made out of real cow beef.
Ain't that what Chinese homies saying the same thing, man? If you're a good boy, you got a high social credit score. Social credit score is not your credit, it's your social credit score, boy. Where they can shut it off and take, shut off the barcodes like the Chinese gentleman was talking about, man, right? I'm just saying, this 2030 ain't no joke, man. And
you think you're fine after a car accident?
No, we don't think we fine, but I think the Hijack about to have an accident on themselves, man.
Or the one that was most.
So just look at how it all correlates to 2030, 2033. We just got, Kumi with Kum, that 7-year countdown from 2026. Their last push to get everything digital ID.
So I said to him, no, Nigel, not without the brie. Indubitable.
Robotics, yada, yada, yada. Try to make us make a deal with the serpent once and for all before that time. Olympics 2028 in LA, right? All this stuff, man. Let's just look how it connects, man. Just look at the timing of it all. The next 10 years, like, what's really going to be here? What's really going to be important 10 years from now, for real, with eyes to see clearly?
Most commonly played was we're going to get the United States off of foreign oil. Well, guess what? Snowflakes. Donald J. Trump was the first president in history, at least as far as to my knowledge, since we've been on foreign oil, that's been able to achieve that goal. And of course, he got zero credit for it. The media didn't, give him his due on that and talk about that in a positive way. But, you remember our energy prices were quite a bit cheaper under Trump than they were under Obama, and certainly under Biden. Because if you remember what Obama said back in the day around 2008, he says, under my energy plan, your energy prices will necessarily skyrocket, because they've realized that if they want to get people to use less stuff, the easiest, quickest way to do that is make the stuff cost way more money. So then people will have to use less. They'll be forced to use less, even though we have an abundance of it in surplus in many cases. They don't care about that. They want you to use less so that when they're doing their, G7 talks and all these other, whatever other globalist bullcrap NWO thing that they're selling the United States out to at the time, they can say, oh, look, yeah, we've reduced this. We've reduced our energy consumption, blah, blah, blah. Well, what they're not saying is, yeah, we did that by raising the prices up so high that nobody in their right mind would leave the light switch on anymore. So none of this stuff is done in a way that you and I would do it. It's done in a way of control because these people are controllers and they're trying to basically get their tentacles attached to every aspect of your life here in the United States. And once that happens, there is no constitution that's going to save you anymore. Once these people have taken full control, it's over.
Woo. Y'all get the link. Y'all get the link. And I'm just showing you, you know what I'm saying, just from mypatriotsupply.com, and a good one today on is from Natural News as well. That has a translation as well to all this. You might be reading from the same link. You know what I mean? Oh, make cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, or ban all gun ownership by private citizens concentrating guns into the hands of the obedient government enforcers who rule over the unarmed enslaved class. Remember, slave, slave, slave. That's what the China brother was saying, man. That's what they want.